sir.
All right. Okay. Yeah. So, welcome everyone to today's Cerebral Talk Show. We appreciate you for taking your time to join this conversation. And today's topic is something that is very crucial for all of us, and I'm very hopeful that we have our own questions. For me, I already have like 5 questions to ask, after the whole thing. And the target is that we should not spend more than 40 minutes, 30 to 40 minutes. So I'm going to be moderating to ensure that we don't, take too much of our time. But please, I expect us to have a lot of questions. And after the whole conversation, we're going to be taking your questions one after the other. Just to reiterate, Cerebral Talk Show is basically a show that is designed to help us achieve in all aspects of our lives. I mean, if you have been following us, we have done a talk show around mental health. We have talked about romance. We have talked about goals. The one we are talking about today is also similar to mental health. We all see everything happening around our world, domestically in Nigeria, bandits, insecurity, killings, all these things. Some people don't even have job. Some people they have job, but their work environment is toxic. Their life, they may not be getting this right as they want it now. So the basic thing is, how then do we cope with all these depressing things, that happen to almost everyone? I mean, we all see situations that we're not happy about, that we wish we can change. You see people on the street begging, it's depressing. You see people being attacked, being kidnapped. Sometimes it even happens to people that we know directly, and it could be very depressing. Even it could be us. So today, basically, we want to learn how to manage, stress and anxiety, so that we can enjoy life more. So that's the purpose of this particular talk show. But please support me as we continue to talk. I would like you to just put our YouTube channel on the comment section so that people can follow us and listen to the previous talk show that we have had in time past. And I think that they will definitely enjoy it. I mean, if you have been following us from the beginning, you can also testify to the fact that there has never been one boring talk show. That's always been insightful. And I would like, if you have not seen everything, I would like you to go and see all those shows that we have done in time past. Also, if you have any maybe you want to ask any questions, maybe after this program, or maybe you want us to talk on a particular topic, you can as well reach out to us at cerebralstories@gmail.com. So that will also be shared on the chat section. Please support me. Please add that also to the comments, so that people can reach out to us, and hopefully they can also ask us to talk about anything. We are open to talking about anything that revolves around life. So I wouldn't like to take much of our time, but I would just encourage us to ask questions. If you are shy to put on your video, you can as well just type it in the chat section. I don't know if there's anonymous. Maybe you can send the question without people knowing that you are the one that sent it. But I mean, I just encourage you to ask questions. I mean, you don't even have to say you are facing anything. You could say somebody, you could say a friend, just feel free to ask questions. So I wouldn't like to take much of our time. We'll try to keep it very short. Within 30 minutes, we should be done with the main conversation, and then we'll go into questions. So our guest speaker, Emmanuel Additional, will take the floor now. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks so much. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, colleagues. Been a long time that at least I've spoken to a class like this. That was in 2017. If I can remember last. Nice having this opportunity again. I want to appreciate every one of us for joining this session. Can I be heard, please? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, perfect. All right, thanks. So thanks so much. So I will be starting, just because of our time, I will start on the topic, as we all see, managing stress and anxiety. Because unless we want to deceive ourselves that there is no stress, stress is all over wherever we find ourselves. And But before we start, I just want to ask a question. Can we really mitigate, or can we take completely stress from our day-to-day activities? I need someone to answer that question. Is it possible to eradicate stress? Anyone?
Can I nominate somebody? So
To be
I
honest,
feel like
Okay, I think someone's.
okay,
yeah,
all
to
right.
be
Okay, go ahead.
honest, that is um, I'll say no. Actually, I'll say no. It's a bit. I'll say it's almost impossible to eradicate stress.
Mhm. All right, thank you. I don't know if any other person have. Okay, I think Damian say something.
Yeah, good evening, everyone.
Good
Yeah,
evening.
so for me, yeah, maybe eradicating may be going too far, but I think it's better for someone like me. I can just try to like avoid it, man. Like just avoid stress. Yeah, something like that. I suffer stress.
Okay, all right, thank you so much. So let me just start from where the last speaker took. Actually, we cannot eradicate stress, and that's a fact. We can only mitigate it. We can reduce it to the barest minimum, but that we should take it out of our day-to-day activity. Even if your work is not stressing you, other things can stress you. Stress can come from any angle, and that's the fact I want every one of us to understand today, that stress comes in different dimensions. It does not really mean my work alone or my family, or I'm trying to work on a professional exam, I'm not getting it right, things like that, or my environment is toxic. It's not only one particular one. Stress can come in different ways, but the reality is that we cannot eradicate stress, and that's a fact. We can only reduce it, and we can do. Sometimes we could say we want to avoid. You can try to avoid this, but the alternative also will definitely have another form of stress. It might just be little compared to that particular one. So that's just what I want to speak about that. So when we talk about stress today, what is stress? Stress is just our reaction. It might be more of body reaction to environmental demand. The environment, that's why it's environmental demand, does not really mean just one particular thing. It can be different, coming from different dimension now, but it's the way your body reacts to such that is what we talk about stress. So it could be emotional. Probably you are in a relationship and everything is not going right well, everything is falling apart. It could bring about mental health stress to you. It could bring emotional stress to you. It could be physical stress too. Probably the distance from where you are to your place of work, or to wherever you want to get to, and in your daily routine. So that can also be demanding on your body, telling on your body, and that is another form of stress. It could be financial stress too. You want to get something, but the finance is not really there, or the job to get the kind of life you want is not really there. That is also a form of stress. It could be also your work, the workload at your place of work. Many of us today, we have more of title, not really collaborating with our grade, and that is the reality in Nigeria today. And you realize that most of the companies to the organization prefer going for alternative workforce, more of contract staff, and the imagine the kind of work they give contract staff to work is not commensurable with what they are being paid. And that is exactly what we are seeing. Even the full staff of most of the organizations today, what they are doing is more than what that their role demands. But what that's how Nigeria is. We have to move on. And that's part of stress we can see that is more happening to us nowadays in Nigeria in particular. And what I just want to compare our body to a rubber band. There is an elastic, the level you can expand the rubber band to. The moment you pass that particular level, the next thing is what it cuts. And that is also our own body. We should understand that there is a way you can stress yourself. The better you understand that's your dimension, that's your boundary, the better for you. So when you think, some people, I'm a jackie of what I can do all things. Yes, you can do all things, but you need to know that there is a boundary. Your body is more or less like a rubber band, as I said. So if you expand it above what you can do, above what you can take, it's going to be fatter. So I want us to understand that. So what are the symptoms when we feel like we are stressed? Number one, you see reaction. Even from your reaction, people can tell you that you are stressed. Someone just say something, and that's one thing about Lagos today. It's just little thing like this. You see someone just flare up in a commercial vehicle. Sometimes I just look at this person. This person is already stressed. I won't blame him. So, and that's the reality today. Just maybe just mistakenly step on someone. You are in a probably on a queue or something and you step on someone, you see reaction like, it's not just I step on you and I say sorry. What brought about this? The person is already passing through a lot that you don't understand. So that's one thing we also even should understand. Why you feel like you are normal, someone beside you might be stressed, and you should understand that. So if people are reacting, just understand that purpose why they are reacting is beyond physical that you can see. And that is, you might feel irritated. Things that you go along with before start to irritate you. Just know that there is stress coming on you or is telling on you. And that is also your form of your level of receptiveness. Before you can receive people can come around you. But nowadays, you see that people are trying to avoid you. Why? Because sometimes you might not even know, but because of the way you are reacting to things, the way your social life is no longer as people knows you before. Why? Because that's the reaction of stress that is already taking place in your body. And that thing is, you realize that almost every month you fall sick, you have been taking different drugs, it's like they are not working. Is actually a red flag that you are being stressed, because stress has the capacity to weaken your immune system. And that's one thing we should understand today. Stress have a way to affect your immune system. And that thing also stress does in the body, and a symptom you should understand it. Most of the times, ulcer that we say today, sometimes ulcer is not really food alone. It might be as a result of stress. When you have been overworking your system, it also leads to ulcer. And if you try to go, you can Google more on ulcer. Stress is one of the main cause of ulcer, most especially people in corporate organization today. Some people will tell you, I've been trying to make sure I eat in the morning, I eat in the afternoon. Beyond that, stress also have its own way. And that thing we see that stress cause today is blood pressure, high blood pressure. You begin to see people of early 40s that develop stroke. I begin to imagine, I thought stroke is old people's sickness. What happened is because young people now are having it. You can try to make sample of some few people in your organization. Try to see. I remember a particular person I met with. I told that person, you need to take care of your health. Like, the stress is more the demand. I need to meet up this target. I need to meet up this. Eventually, the person falls sick. Before you know it, someone of early 40 developed stroke. Almost 4 months, he could not even come to work. And one thing you should understand about work is that it's just that you are there. If you are not there, someone else will do the job. It's not that I'm telling you now that you should not do the job. But one thing you should understand is that your head is your body your body is actually the engine that you are using for the work. The moment the engine break down, you can't continue the work. And what's come to us, nothing of such will happen. If such person eventually die, the higher they can do is 1 minute silence. And even today, it's not even up to 1 minute again. Within 30 seconds, everything is over. Work will continue. They will share the person's work to another person before they can even get replacement. And that is the reality. So we should understand the moment your body is actually telling you that, guy, cool down, you need to take that step immediately, because if you decide not to take the rest that you need, your body eventually requests for that rest compulsively, and then at that time you won't be able to help it out. So, but little rest you could have taken, like maybe 1 hour, 2 hours, will have saved you of almost a week breakdown that your body eventually will face. And that thing you see is constant headache. That someone begins almost every time I have migraine. Some people now, if you check their back, it's more Pastor. Are you a chemist? You have different kind of pain reliever, different things people are taking today. Why? Because of stress. They want to continue the work. They want to finish this. And at the end, you see them consuming drugs, and that's drug abuse. It's not until you start taking hard drugs before you start going into drug abuse. But why? Because you fail to allow your body to rest. And that thing you can also see symptom is when you realize that your palm is becoming hot or warm, both your palm, and even your feet also. That's also another red flag that you are already overwhelmed, you are stressed. So when you understand this, these are things you should look out to. If you begin to have any of these symptoms, please, we advise you that you need to take time to rest. And that's why most of the organizations today, there is time for leave that you can take. Your annual leave, you can just take to a week off, 5 days working day out of the whole annual leave, and take time to rest. So that's how to go about it. We'll still go further more on that, but I want to just give us some facts. When we talk about stress have actually affected our life expectancy in Nigeria. And that's one thing we should understand today. In Nigeria today, our life expectancy is 54 years. And that's very poor. 54 years are the average age that people are attaining before they die in Nigeria now is 54. And compared to the world, in Europe, we have 84, we have 83 going on, but Nigeria is 54. And Nigeria is one of the lowest in Africa. We are the lowest in Africa is Central Africa, which they are having 53 years. After that, Nigeria will follow. So why? Because of all this stress. Nigeria is really a stressful country, and that's what you should understand. In Africa, the average life expectancy is 64, but Nigeria is 54. You can imagine that. So it's actually a red flag to us that there is stress in Nigeria. It's just for us to know how we can actually minimize it, because Nigeria, especially Lagos, is stressful. Another thing I want us to look at, because if you are looking at the life expectancy, the highest we have in Hong Kong, Japan, Australia, Switzerland, Spain, Italy, Iceland, those ones have about 84 to 85 years life expectancy. While Central Africa, Chad, Nigeria, we're having 53 to 54 life expectancy before people leave the world. And that is that the most stressful city in the world. When you look at the most stressful, Lagos is number 1 in the world today. And when you imagine Lagos, you can imagine what it takes. I'll give you an example. If you are coming from Ibadan, on that long bridge to Berger, you can spend nowadays is 2-3 hours before you can step out of that place. And those are the things that bring about stress. From there, you are going to Tomiland Bridge. You go to, so I imagine someone going to working on island, working on in VI, staying around Redeem side, staying around Mowe. Imagine you spend about 3 hours on the long bridge. Then from there, you move again to Tomiland Bridge. You face all those ones. All those are already stress. Before you eventually even get to your office, you are tired. And at the end, you can't say, I'm tired, boss, I can't work today. You still have to work. Imagine that's what add stress to us today that we are seeing. And that thing also, I'm saying, part of the facts also I want to mention is that when we talk about the least livable place in the whole world, Lagos, you can check it in the Economist Intelligence Unit report. Lagos is number 2, the least place that people want to stay among the major cities in the world. Lagos is number 2, the least. So you can imagine, because I believe most of us here, if not up to 80% or 70% are in Lagos here, you can imagine that in the statistic, the world statistic, Lagos is number 2, less desired place to stay. So you can imagine how stressful Lagos is. That's after Damascus in Syria. So we should understand that there is stress in Lagos, there is stress in Nigeria, particularly Lagos. Now, what are the reality about stress? One thing I want you to understand is that stress build up. It's not something that will just come up one day. It builds up. Your body will begin to tell you gradually, your body, and that's one thing we see today, that some people will tell that they slept and they didn't wake up. I'm telling you, the body have started telling them before then. It's just because they try to let me still push forward, let me push forward. Maybe next month I'll take rest. Next week I'll take rest. Weekend, and for instance, weekend is not even enough again to take rest. So when your body starts telling you, guy, you need to slow down, and you fail not to do that, it's going to start building up, and that's how stress and anxiety eventually build up. So when we talk about that stress build up, and that thing you need to understand is that absolute dependence on substance is also a red flag. There are some people today, without them taking a particular substance, they cannot be okay. You see them before they want to take maybe an exam or interview, you see how fidgety they are because of anxiety. But they believe when I've taken something, I'll be high, I'll be able to do it. That is a red flag that there is a problem on that particular person. Another thing you should understand is that stress and anxiety, it undermines your happiness, your level of happiness. The moment you are being stressed and anxiety is coming up, you want to do something, you don't have confidence again, your confidence level is dropping. It's going to hamper your happiness, your level of happiness. Then last, I think I've mentioned that before, is that stress also have a way of weakening your immune system. That's why you see to this month, you've taken malaria drug. Next month again, they say it's typhoid and malaria. And that month, almost every month, you are not you are a patient in the hospital. Why? You feel maybe it's my environment, mosquito, all these things. Look more is more stress. It's the stress that is breaking down your immune system that have not been able to allow you to enjoy that health that you expected. So what are those things when we talk about stress, or what are the things that bring about this stress we are even talking about? I've mentioned some already, but I'll still continue. We see our feeling and perception. And that's one thing we need to check ourselves today. Your feeling and your perception, I'm not sure I'm good enough. And I want to show that I can do better. So when you are now pressurizing yourself, Your body system is already prepared, but you are still giving yourself more pressure. That is what brings about stress. Your perception. I think people are not feeling that I'm okay enough. I want to show them that no, I can do better. Or another thing is that you want to do an event, you want to probably, let's say someone want to marry now, and you're not like, my friend wedding that they did last month, I know how the kind of all they collected, the kind of this big, how big, my own must be massive. And because of that, you give yourself pressure, unnecessary pressure, because you are comparing yourself with others. So as a result of that, pressure begin to build up. And before you know it, they'll say, this person had high blood pressure, BP, sugar level high, all these things. Why? Because you are giving yourself unnecessary competition that you should have just avoided and just do what you are capable of doing and move on. But because you want to show.
Yeah, sorry. So I just wanted to, you've been sharing a lot of insights. But I just wanted to let you know that we just have 10 minutes more, because there are a lot of questions. I have 5 questions. I don't know. I expect maybe we're going to have another 5 from the people listening in. So I'll just like you to just use 10 minutes to wrap it up, so that you can go to the question section.
Okay, so as I said, undue comparison, when you begin to compare yourself with others, it's going to affect you and give you stress more. Then feeling below standard, you are feeling you are not up to the others, your people around, you feel you are not up to that standard. That's another thing. And then trying to impress others. The moment you are trying to develop all these kind of things, it's going to bring stress to you. Then unhappiness in your current job, is a major thing again today that is causing stress to us. And that's one. And finally, because of our time, I'll just go to our the way out. 3 things I'll just say. ABC. You should be aware of what stresses you. If you can, that is number 1. If you can get that this is what is bringing about stress to me, you have solved like 50% of it. This is my going to office is what is stressing me. I'm going to the distance from my house to my office is what is bringing stress. You have already identified what is bringing stress to you. So you should be aware. That's number 1 thing. Number 2 is that you should balance it. Now I know that this is what is bringing stress to me. I want to balance it. How do you balance? You can delegate. If there is possibility for you to delegate, don't try to do all the job. Don't be a jackie of all trade. In your place of work, there is hybrid. Don't come to office every day just because if I come every day, they will know I'm working. Who do you want to impress? Is it after you impress and they promote you, but you don't have the capacity again? Then they said, please, we have to sack you because your body system cannot continue the work. Then the next thing, when you balance, it can be you are working on island, you are staying in Mowe. Why can't you get, and you have the money? Why can't you get house around Yaba, around Suile that is close to where you are working? Some people like, because of money. You might have the, if you have the money, I would just advise, just try to get a place that is proximity to your office. That's a major way. If you are in Lagos and your place of work is just like 10 minutes to your office, I'm telling you, you have one of the best opportunities in Lagos. So some people like, if I go to Yanopaja, the houses there are a bit cheaper. You should understand that your health is priority than the money. If you have the money, spend it on that. It will help you. And that is what develop a coping mechanism. Some people is like, if I sing, I will be better. Just take that moment when you feel your body is being stressed. Just take that moment, sing. Find a coping mechanism. Some people might be, let me exercise myself. Some people is that, let me just take myself out or hang out with my friend. Just that little break, you realize, or just to take a nap. Just that little period that you have already dedicated for that, it will help you a lot. So just have a coping system that you have, that this thing work for me. And when you have identified that, immediately you identify that your stress, go back to that, use your coping mechanism, and then you'll be fine. So I think because of our time, I will need to round up now. So let me give room for questions, then I'll take it from there.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for the very insightful, should I say, presentation now. It's a lot. I mean, if we could take some things from that, from all the things you said here, I think it's really going to help us in terms of reducing stress. And for me, one thing is, I always say, it is good to be hardworking. It is good to have desire to achieve your goals. But if you are working so hard that, you are not even like enjoying life at all, like you don't even have time to just have fun, to relax. I feel like you may be doing too much. You may need to just have a kind of balance between you chasing your goals and also trying to relax and enjoy. I mean, what you have. All of us don't know how long we have on heads, So if you work and work and work and work, maybe you work to where you are old and then you don't have the strength to enjoy life, So just try to balance everything. So I have 5 questions here, like I said before, but before I go into my own questions, I would like to hear from others. So if you have any question, just signify. If you want to talk via video, you are free to do that. Audio, you are free also. And if you want to just put it in the chat box, that's also fine. So if you have any questions, let us know. But I've not seen any hand. So pending that time, I'll start asking my own questions. So my first question is this. Are there activities a person with anxiety can do to reduce maybe the impact of anxiety? Maybe like doing sports, watching movies, hangouts. What do you recommend for such people or anybody experiencing stress and anxiety to do?
Okay, anxiety. So I think there are things you can do to take off the anxiety. Number one is that you need to build that confidence level, because anxiety comes because of lack of esteem. Begin to probably, for instance, someone that wants to do probably an interview, and then he's being anxious, getting there, you begin to feel get a different form of, you see different symptom of anxiety in such person. Number one is that you should develop confidence in yourself that, no, I can do this thing. And before you go for such interview, you can have mock interview to yourself. Even if there's nobody there with you, just rehearse, talk to yourself, be confident about what you are capable of. So when you have confidence in yourself, and another thing is that don't try to impress someone, just know your capacity and impress yourself, you are good to go. But the moment you set your impression that I want to impress this person instead of I want to give the best, you are going to have problem. So just be yourself and try to give the best. Don't try to impress anybody. So if that is there, then you can build up. So, and also going out with people too will help you. Some people that they said they have anxiety problem and they are still indoor. They are introvert. They are not ready to talk to people. They are not ready to move out with people. That thing will keep killing them. But the moment you are gradually discussing with people, before you know it, you develop that capacity. Sometimes you are the one that have not really understand that you have what it takes. And why? Because you've not been able to exploit it. So the moment you are being sociable and you are developing good relation with people, going out with people, discussing, you now realize that, wow, so this thing is embedded in me. I'm the one that have not been able to exploit it out. So with that, you'll now be able to overcome such challenge of anxiety.
All right. Thank you very much for that brilliant answer. And again, I mean, you spoke a lot about health. You spoke a lot about going out. So I was wondering, perhaps maybe a reason for stress could be the way somebody is being raised. So maybe for instance, somebody staying indoors a lot. Maybe their childhood, they have not really been used to engaging others. So how do you think that parents, because I know some of us have children, how do you think that parents should build that confidence in their children to prepare them ahead of all these different challenges that may occur in the future, and help them to enjoy life better?
So, okay, thank you for that. So the first thing I will say here is, number one, if someone that's raising a child, number one, to me, I expect that you yourself should look at your own growing up time when you were still a kid. Those things that were not that good to you, you should try to learn from that and ensure that that is not happening to the children you are raising. Fine, doing when we're growing up, our parents might not allow us to go out. There are some that are good. So that is where we now need to strike balance. We should not now say, my parents, then I'm always indoor, so my own children too must be indoor. The time of that has gone. This is a new era. So you must be able to understand well what works well for you. And it could be because of the environment. Because when you are raising kids, I think first thing first is to look at the environment you are. If that environment is not conducive to raise kids, it's better you leave that, because if the environment is always a place they fight every day, you also want to keep your children indoor almost every day, and that will not be conducive enough to raise such kids, because it's not the best to just lock your children indoor without being social with others. And if they are not being social with others, that will affect them on later in life. That's when you now realize that when they come to when they get to schools, they have low self-esteem. They can't do anything that will show them up. Why? Because they are always being timid and feel intimidated. So you need to look at that. Look at what are those things that doing when I was growing up are not good, and then you make sure that those things you learn from it and build your own family from that. And look at your environment too, that you want to raise such kids. Are they really conducive enough to ensure that I give my children the best?
All right. Thank you very much. I'm still expecting questions. I still have like 3 more questions here. If you have any questions, please drop it in the chat box, or I mean you could talk. So I'll just go straight into the third question here. So I was wondering, is there a connection between obesity, peer pressure, and anxiety? And if there is, how can one solve the problem of peer pressure and also obesity, basically?
Okay, peer pressure, number one, I said earlier on, most of the time is when you are giving yourself unnecessary comparison with your peers. So if you are going with friends and they are always looking down on you, I'm just telling you, you need to change that your friend circle, because you can't be forced to do what you are not capable of doing. Fine, do your own best, and if your best is like it's not enough for them, it's better you just look for another kind of, because friendship is expected to bring you up to where they are. It's not to weigh you down. So if your friendship, the kind of relation you are having is that they are always pressurizing you that you must do this, then it's already a courtesan group. Is a courtesan, and that's already is showing that no, this one is giving you pressure, and that will continue to give you pressure, because I want to live that kind of standard. I must have this limousine because they have limousine. I must have this kind of vehicle because they have it. I must have this. You begin to give yourself unnecessary, and before you know it, you involve in some dirty thing just to meet up with that, and that is where the anxiety, and because you won't have the boldness to even face them. And obesity too can be as a result of stress. I'll give you an example. At office, you just for money 8 to 5, just sit down one place. The highest you take is junk, continue the work again. You get home in the evening, you are tired again, take bread, go and sleep again. Before you know it, such person will be obese.
Yeah.
Number one, no time to even exercise the body. So the person will definitely be obese eventually. So obesity is not only because the person is not working. No, when you are seated in a particular place for long and you don't have time to take care of yourself, eat good food, take time to just stress yourself. You are just seated in a particular position, take Jones, continue like that, come back home again, take the Jones. You are tired, you just take Jones, and even you are back from office around 10 o'clock, you take the Jones again, go and sleep 4 a.m. again, you are awake again just to move again. It's killing. So that is actually connected to obesity too.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think you're very right. Because I always ask people a lot, this particular question, like, what time in your life can you consider as the best time? And a lot of people tell me that it was when they are young. And if you look at young people are very active. They don't worry about anything. They just go out, play, come back home, watch cartoon, eat, sleep, wake up again, play. Young people are not too worried about a lot of things, and they exercise a lot. So you can see that most of them do not even have anything. They don't think too much about about a lot of things about life. It's only adults. Most of it, even me myself, I don't do exercise, to be honest, and I think I need to change that. And I trust most of us who don't do that. I think it's something we could learn. I think that would help to reduce a lot of anxiety. I mean, the more you engage your mind in productive things, the lesser the time you have to be worrying about things that are not relevant. Yeah. So thank you very much. So my next question is this: what are the symptoms of depression, and when should one see a psychologist?
Okay, fine. Thank you. I will answer that. So before I answer that, I'll just give an example of what happened recently of a particular CEO, co-founder, and who they claim that committed suicide. Why? Because that person, or actually from the news of what we have, the news open to people is that because of depression. So that's what we should understand. Depression can even come to that extent that one will commit suicide. So the first thing first is that the moment you are feeling depressed, how do you know that you are feeling depressed? You see, you are not happy. Even some that had the best kind of food before that, when you give this person this food like this, they know that this everything that he's thinking about has gone. He will be ready to eat that kind of thing, but he's not finding joy in it again. Probably the person is movie freak before, like, guy, let's go to movie now. You see that the person is not even ready again. Say, guy, don't tire, just go. The moment you already see all those kinds of things, that things that suits you before, that form of coping system for you before, they are no longer working. Then is a red flag that no, this person is really being depressed. And next thing you begin to see is that you want to avoid people around you. You only want to be alone. And then you see the kind of mood that is coming up. That is already showing that no, you need to see a doctor. And there was a report that said that almost about 60% of people in Lagos is actually having a mental issue that they even need to visit psychiatric for doctor for. So exactly. I saw something last week that affected me for almost a day or for almost 24 hours, yes. Because I've been watching movie. It's only a movie I've been hearing it, or I hear it from here that they kill someone. But I saw that scenario when they did that. They shoot the person and then they use cutlass on the person until the person died. I was not myself. It affected me for the whole day. Until even the following day when I was passing through that area, when the main picture comes like this, it started affecting me. I was really scared. So things like that actually bring about mental issues. And when you begin, later you now see someone that is talking to himself, at that time, you know that there's a big problem. So you realize that because you yourself now, you're not like, even, and another thing is, another symptom you need to understand. When you begin to understand that you start forgetting things easily, then it's an issue. That depression to have come to that level that things, people will just tell you something, and before you know, in the next 5 minutes, or you yourself, I want to do this in the next 5-10 minutes, you've forgotten that you plan to do something, then it's a red flag that you need to see a medical advisor on that.
Yeah, thank you very much. I also think another problem that we have majorly is the fact that we compare ourselves to other people. You go on Instagram, you see people maybe living a kind of lifestyle that you want to also enjoy, but maybe because of your financial capacity, you can't do that. But the truth is that sometimes when you see people and they look happy, it could be a sign of depression.
Yeah.
You may not know, this way they are so happy, they're always taking pictures, smiling, you think, oh, this person has everything perfectly. But the truth is that it is until when you get close to them, wow, so you are going through this thing. I mean, when you ask people, if those people that went through depression, they will tell you that when they were going through depression, nobody knew. They kept it to themselves, they laugh a lot, they join gatherings, they laugh, but they are not really happy deep within them. Or this season where we see a lot of people doing jackpot. You feel like, when am I going to? When is my own turn? This, that. I was talking to one of our friends, our colleagues, maybe like 2 days ago. And, she was telling me about what she experienced, studying, in the UK, how difficult it was. I was like, hey, I prefer just staying in Nigeria than facing all this.
Really, it's
people are
really
not telling you. People not telling you what they are going through. Yeah, so don't assume like, oh, they are better than me, and don't compare yourself to other people. Enjoy your life. Enjoy your life to the extent that God has blessed you. Enjoy your life. You look at Bill Gates now. Those people are very old. If they see someone that will give them 10 years, they will be willing to sell a lot of their, they'll be willing to give a lot of billions for that, to get extra 10 years on top of their lives. So whatever God has blessed you with, try to enjoy it. Try to find good friends. If you have good friends, good friends are not very common. If you have good ones, enjoy, have fun, hang out with people, enjoy life, play football. The things that are the most beautiful in life are those things that we think that they are not really material. Like just having a conversation with somebody could be something so significant in life. So it's not until when you start driving the latest Benz or whatever, that's when you're happy. So I'm very happy somebody is raising their hand. Damilola Moshood, please can you just speak?
Good evening, everyone, once again. Thank you very much, Emmanuel. It has been an insightful session thus far. So I just want to like ask this particular question. Yeah. Okay. So let's. How do you think one can manage stress coming from say workplace, right? I mean, in a work environment, you might be having a whole lot of workloads, and it's kind of it's hard or somehow to say you want to reject work. I mean, you can't just reject work, right? But then you have a whole lot of work and these things are getting to you, right? And how do you think one can manage that kind of situation? Yes, such that you
Okay.
would, you have to prioritize your mental health, right? Like your capacity and all of that. What do you think, or what would you suggest in that instance, please?
Okay, thanks so much. So I will start with number one because, as I said earlier on, we started with a question that can we eradicate stress? So, and we've already established that it's not possible, but we can actually minimize it. So, how do we minimize such issue? Because number one, we have both external and internal factors. So, like this kind of factor now might be beyond what you can actually control. But within yourself, if there are some things you need to do, then to reduce such is what we now look at. Number one, for me, in that kind of situation, I look at my other stresses because my boss have given me work. I need to work on it. Since I've not been able to get another work, I need to do the work. So and if I don't do the work, when appraisal come, I'm going to be affected. Like the guy is not working, even though I'm working, nobody knows I'm working. Is what my supervisor say eventually that they will believe. So I still need to work. I need to do what he asked me to do so that when he say I'm not working, there's evidence that I've done all this. So I'll look at number one, if there a way I can reduce the other external stress. Number one, how is my distance to my place of work? Is this something that is too long that I'll still spend like 3 hours, 4 hours? That's already another stress on its own. That if I can take off that one particular stress, it will add benefit to me. If that is possible, and I have the finance, because I understand that finance is under challenge to get a place that is closer. So if I can afford that, even if it's just a room save, I don't need 2-bedroom flats. I'm the only one. I just need one room, a room save that's just a room, kitchen, toilet. I'm fine. And is around closer. If that is possible, you get that. That already have reduced this kind of stress. And that thing is that, to me, see, there are some sacrifices we need to take some time. And there are some things we need to take. Of recent, I decided to change my career, my work career. I changed it and I started this week. I moved from assurance function to IT. So when I started, it's like a divergent this thing kind that from this part to this part. Why? Because I realized that I need to, though it's a sacrifice I need to make. But at the same time, when I'm sacrificing that thing too, another thing is that I need to be mentally balanced. And that's the reason why I decided that it's going to cost me. Let me just move to this area. So you yourself, you might come to a state that you might just need to find another job. When you come to a state that you are not even finding joy in that job again, it's better one just move away from that place and look for something better to do. And to me, if we involve ourselves, tell everybody, and that's one thing I need us to understand is that we need to keep friendship. When you keep friendship, so that's a problem. When we are being depressed or we are having challenge and we are not ready to even share with others, it's going to keep killing us inside. So that's the place of friendship. So when we have friends discuss, tell people about that. This place of work, I think I'm done here. I need a better job or I need another alternative. And you might be surprised at this, and there's an offer here. And you're not like, wow, I didn't know you need it. And then you get it. You get referral and you get it. So at that stage, when you are not getting happiness, joy from that job again, it's just regular. You need to find something else to do. So I think that's what I can say about that, because that work, you can't say you won't be able to do the job, because that is what you have accepted. And sometimes when we are doing it, we tell them that you can work under pressure. They say that that's what you said. And when you wanted to pressure,
I did not
thank you.
put it in my CV. I did not put up.
Are you sure?
Yeah, so thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Dami, for that very lovely question. So I thought I saw Scepter's and I think Oluwaseun David. Okay. Shewa, please go ahead. I saw Shewa and it
Right.
dropped. I can't see
Good
it again.
evening.
Yeah, good evening.
All right. So I want to ask a question on toxic environments in the place of work. So how do you think one can actually manage the toxicity and the toxicity? Is that right?
Toxicity.
Of,
Is that
of
what
your
you're saying?
environment.
Yeah.
Exactly, yes. Or in your environment, so that it won't just be that it's getting to you mentally. Because currently now in my job, I think I'm having that kind of issue, though I'm on leave. So, and I don't have the plan to probably resume the job after that because the environment is too toxic because of a lot of things that is going on there. So how do you think one can manage that in case I actually plan to still continue on the job?
So let me give example. One thing that guide me when I'm in a particular situation again is that I try to reduce expectation from people, and I think that thing helped me a lot. Like making provision. I thank God most of us are accountants. I'll be all of us, at least we have accounting background. When we talk about making provision for maybe we are making provision for bad debt for next year when we are doing budgets. It's like, okay, well, I assume that next year there will be $100,000 bad debts. So we made that provision. So eventually, when we try to make that provision to ensure that at least to some extent is more than what we happen. So when it's down more, then we have our we'll be able to recognize income in that particular financial year. So that's kind of thing I make in my life that see people they will misbehave. So I try to as much as possible give them that provision that yes, they will do more than what I expect. So when I get to that kind of work, I can like, okay, the worst that can happen here is that my oga slap me, which I know is not possible in a good good environment. So when I've already made the worst scenario that can happen, so anything they now do, because I believe it's going to be lesser than that, we'll be able to help until I get a better, because to be serious is to get a better job. And I said, and the last question is that let's tell people around, and to if it's possible, maybe if we can, I don't know, if we can have a form of repository or people that feel they need a better job or this thing, if there can be something, and let's have so that anybody you know that you have an open your organization, you can just put it there for those people, or just look to that kind of place and look at, okay, this person have that qualification, and then engage such person. I think that will also help, because if toxic environment, if it's not well managed, it will even affect you physically, and before you know it, the person can even lose his or her life, and work will continue. So the best thing is, let's see how you can get out of that place, and depending that time you're still looking for alternative, try to make provision for them. Think of the what they can do for you, and then try as much as possible, or things you can avoid, things you can't avoid, give them that space, that provision, that no, they can do this to me, and you know they can't do the worst to you. I think that's the only thing you can do in that kind of situation.
All right, thank you very much. I hope that answers the question. But I also wanted to add to it. You know, one thing for me is that whenever I'm going through a difficulty, you know, I just look at myself like it can't last for long. You know, what can I do maybe in the next 6 months to one year, so that I can transition away from this space. So what I'll do is for me personally, I have a dream to establish my own business. You know, but now is not the time. Although I don't have a toxic work environment, thanks to God. You know, I enjoy the work I'm doing, but I still have a desire to have my own business. So what I would just tell you is that you may try to, if your business is a small scale business that doesn't require a lot of capital, you start maybe trying to work, you know, do your own personal business, and then match it with your employment. Once you start saying that, oh, your personal business is becoming more stable, then you can make a decision to say you are not, you know, going to continue with that. But if you don't have any alternative, please don't quit your job without having alternative. Honestly, it could even cause you a lot of anxiety if you lose your job. It could cause you a lot of anxiety. I can remember when we finished NYC, I was at home for like 5 months. It was like hell, just 5 months. It was like hell for me, like wow, you know. So you don't want to go and make that mistake of saying you are not doing it again, and then you don't have any alternative, unless you already have an alternative. don't quit your job. You know,
because that's even added pressure. So you add more pressure and stress.
Yeah. So please don't. You could reach out to any of us after the meeting. Let's talk about it. You know, so that we can give you more. See, how do they say when you tailor made, or how do they say you design something that is,
The best spoke. The best spoke.
Yeah.
So exactly, I get that. So another thing I also say about that is that if there are things to that give you joy, that you like doing, just any little time you have, do those things to just give you hope that yes, very soon I will leave this thing, but that one will keep giving you joy. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So I saw Ezekiel's hand. Ezekiel, do you still want to ask a question? Ezekiel at the B. Okay, I can't hear anything from him. Probably it was an error. I thought I saw Adeopa Michael's hand. You want to ask any question?
Well, I just want to add to the.
All right, please go ahead.
Right, a good one. About handling toxicity in work environment. One thing I believe we can also do is, like Mr. Emmanuel has said, create room for human error. That's one thing that has always helped me in this life, at least so far, such that I don't really take much of offenses to what you do. Something happened in my work recently. Immediately I became a supervisor of my team. Those that I felt were even my friends, that were very close when we were on the same level, they began to raise this devilish attitude, as in very simple thing that we laugh over before. They began to take it so serious, such that they called me names and everything. But I failed to react in that state. Nonetheless, when they still come back, okay, they have this problem, we still solve it together. So we all should know that we are all humans, and as long as you are a human being, there's every tendency that person will misbehave. Nonetheless, there's trust. However, I won't dispute that, but in every trust, let us create the 0.1%. How do we call it then? Provision of error, because we are still human. Blood runs through our veins, so that could also be a factor. Some might see that, okay, as you are working in that environment, they might see that, okay, you might go higher than them, which will cause a bit of rancor and envy. So we should always take note of that. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I don't want to take too much of our time, but please, just very shortly, because I want to bring the meeting to an end. I wanted people to talk. I think Ezekiel raised his hand up. I don't know why his hands are down now. But let me just quickly ask this question. So,
okay, sorry, Super King.
All right.
Before you round up,
yeah, go on.
There are no questions again, Abby.
Yeah, just ask your question, please.
Okay, the question I want to ask in Yoruba, so I want to take the stress away from everybody.
Please.
So, enjoy this question is not for us, but it's for everybody. You are spending money. And so we tell you
which money are you referring to? Which money are you referring to?
That's my question. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Please, anybody that knows where they are getting money, please reach out to Adeshola. Thank you very much. Okay, Adebowale, please go ahead.
Yeah, so a beautiful session. The only thing I just want to add with respect to what we've talked about managing stresses, like Emmanuel said earlier on, we cannot eradicate stress in our daily life. We can only just manage it. So that's to say that we've always find ourselves in situations whereby we'll be stressed. But then how do we manage it? So one of the coping mechanisms I also use for myself is when you find yourself in situations like that, in family situations or dicey situations at work and everything, and it's stressing you off, or you're having concerns from family or from wherever it could be, just ask yourself, with stressing myself or worrying myself, will you address this issue? And would how will this solve the issue? If you worry, I'm coming from the perspective of worrying, overthinking, right? Putting yourself under unnecessary pressure. If that's you putting yourself in that kind of situation, or worrying, overthinking will not solve the situation, then why worry? Like this normal song that says, why worry, be happy, something like that, right? That there are things in life that we really don't need to bother much about. You don't need to even, that temptation will be there for you to feel pressured, for you to be stressed. But once you understand the fact that me being worried, being overthinking about it will not solve the situation, I think it gets to help you see things from another perspective and help you find better ways on how you could also handle it, right? And I hope that God will help us to be able to manage this, because a lot of people are going through different things, right? And I hope that in our daily life, we always God to give us the wisdom to be able to manage some of these things. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for that contribution. Very useful. So another question I wanted to ask was the fact that, one of the reasons why people become depressed or have anxiety is because they lost track at some point. When we were very young, when you ask a kid, what do you want to become? I want to become a pilot. I want to become a this or that, a doctor, engineer, But I mean, as we move on, when we start saying that, I didn't think it was going to be this difficult. People start to lose track of their dreams. They don't even have a sense of direction as to how do I go? They want to achieve this thing, but they don't have that drive. So in that situation, how do people rekindle their interest? How do they retrace their interest and use that desire, to work hard to achieve those goals? So that at least they could solve anxiety in that aspect.
Sorry, I missed that question. Please help
All
me.
right. So basically what I'm trying to say is this, like when people lose passions for the things that they wanted to do, you didn't do accounting for no reason, you didn't do economics for no reason, you didn't do whatever you did, medicine for no reason. There was a reason why you chose that particular course. Now you are doing it. But at the point in time, you saw that life is difficult. You can't even, you want to achieve that dream, but the passion is not there. So how can you, get that your passion again and then focus on your goal?
So I think everything still goes back to friendship and relationship. Because if you are in that kind of situation, first thing I will advise such person is friends and colleagues that's also still in that field. You need to meet them and passing through at that point situation and advice, and you might be seeing it in that perspective that it's like there's no road for me in this place again. But when other people begin to tell you other things still on that road, you'll be like, so is it that I was blind to this other area? You might only be focusing on one direction that's now bringing the confusion, like there's no way forward. Then your other colleague they will give you other 1,000 reasons. You are only seeing one reason why you should leave or why you think you are not encouraged. Others will tell you other 99% opportunity that's still there for you that you are not looking at before. Because one thing is that the moment you are frustrated in one way, there's a way that thing cover your face to see the better part of it. So, but to solve such is open up. So when you open up, this is the situation I'm finding myself. It's like I need to leave this particular room. I need to find something to do. So at that time, you'll be able to, okay, this is it. So that we can help you to now refocus or to redirect back to where you are coming from. So that's what I think can help in that aspect. Fine, many people like me, when I was young, I wanted to be a pilot. That was when I was young, I want to be a pilot. Oh yeah, am I today? Something else. So
the department.
Exactly.
All right. So one more question. Okay, I think Damilola Moshood wants to ask a question. Please, go ahead, Damilola.
Yeah, so this is not like a question, right? So this is not like adding to the discussion on ground, right? I think there is something we need to like mention on this platform on how to manage stress. You know, I mean, I think we should not ignore the place of sleeping, right? I mean,
Yeah.
there are two things. Like when you talk about dreaming, there's a dreams that come from you having an ambition, like you want to achieve something, right? And there's another dream that come from you sleeping and you're dreaming. I think I've find myself in a situation whereby I have ambitions, right? I have dreams. Okay, maybe I'm there, maybe I'm not there, fine. But there are times where I dream, like in the literal sense of dreaming, of me, in achieving things. Like I mean, these I ends in the dream, and you wake up and you realize, oh, it's a dream. I mean, there's some kind of fulfillment that comes from there. So what I'm saying is, please, a way for you to manage stress is you can sleep. Just take a nap. Just try to lock out of whatever things you're thinking. Just find a time for yourself to like not
To
about
rest.
meditation. Yeah, you can meditate. Just rest. Just sleep. Your
Sometimes
brain
even
will
off your phone,
it will
switch
simmer.
off every
Yeah,
distraction and
yeah,
just
yeah. So stuff like that. Can now come back. Okay, let's face it. What's there again? Let's come and face what's on on ground. So that's just it basically adding
All
to
right.
that. Yeah,
Thank
thank you.
thank you very
thank you.
much.
Thank you. Let me just say something about it because I remember when we were working
Okay.
remotely then. Whenever I'm working and it's like everything just frustrating, I just take like 20 minutes now, and that's all. The moment I'm awake back, it's like I'm just starting afresh for the day. I feel refreshed and the work move on immediately. I get traction of what I want to do. So that helps. You just try to rest. Forget about all the problem, all the because thinking will not even resolve as people they so problem.
All right. Thank you very much. At this point, I will want to just wrap up the discussion. It was very insightful, and hopefully, we are going to see more people joining in and subsequent talks. I know some of us have not seen our previous talk shows. Please, I will encourage us to go through them. Very insightful. Like you're really going to enjoy them. And if you check the chat box, please, if you can see the link to our YouTube channel, just raise up, and if not, I'll just ask appointment to reshare. Okay, one person, one hand is up. Please check if you can see it. Just raise your hand up. The chat box. Okay, two people, 3, 4. All right. Okay, that's fantastic. Thank you very much. So please, I will encourage us. Please just go ahead and click the link, follow us on YouTube, and also check those previous videos. I'm telling you, you're really going to enjoy them. You're going to enjoy them 100%. Just go and check them. It doesn't have to be today. If you have time, go and check it out. We really enjoy them. Very insightful talk show that we had previously. With this one also very insightful. So also, if you have something that you want us to discuss, if you check the chat box, you see our email there. Please send us an email if you have a particular topic of interest that you want us to discuss. Even if you want to be the one to talk about it, it's fine. Just let us know. And if you don't want to talk about it, we can also find. We have a lot of people that can that are very very brilliant people, very brilliant minds that can share a lot of insight for us regarding almost any topic. So just share with us via the email, so that we can talk about it. If it's a life story you want to share, we are looking at that also. Like, have a life story, talk about your experience, what you have learned, all this, and like what Emmanuel said while presenting. He mentioned that we should have like a list of people that are they're in need of job opportunity, they want to switch, all those things, so that if we have any opportunity in that line, we can always share with ourselves. So please just reach out to Sanctified. He's very efficient, the #1 coordinator in Nigeria so far. So please just reach out to him, chat with him, let him know what you're looking at. So that is it. And please don't ever give up. Always find the good people to talk to. If you don't have good friends, I don't know why you're having them as friends. Find good friends to talk to and let them help you out. Whatever you're facing, you don't need to think too much. little things can mean so much, if you put much effort into them rather than stressing yourself about, the worries of life. Yeah, so at this point, I'd like to say thank you very much for joining in. And I really look forward to you joining the one we're going to have in November. So we're not going to have the one for December because holiday mode, we don't want to disturb anybody. But hopefully, after November, it will be next year again. Start talking about, key areas in life. So please don't forget, go to our YouTube channel, subscribe, like our videos. Also, you have anything you want us to talk about, please share with us. If you're looking for opportunities, please, have a conversation with Sanctify. So we just have this list, and then probably I'm going to create a WhatsApp channel, and then if you have any opportunities relating to what you're looking for, you can share it. All right, thank you, everybody. Have a lovely evening. Bye.
You too. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys. Bye bye.
Bye.